Asher and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Watching and waiting, searching for something that never walks into light. The darkness has never replaced her lonely. The demons are ready to strike.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. And what a great interview we're going to do today, because I'm in Costa Rica, and I put my surfing aside because this band has some great new music. And then, you know, we're going across the pond to talk about it. And I got to tell you, the first thing before I introduce our guest that drew my attention, besides knowing the band from way back when, is the headline I saw in the press release that said, "More comes out swinging, pumping fistfuls of metal as Destructor album launches." Man, that is like the best press release headline ever. So now we got welcome to the show, Baz from More. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks very much, and thank you for the interest in our band. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Now, is it true? Okay, I read that this album, finally being released, had 10 different titles till the final one.
Well, several, yes. Because we were going to call it Requiem originally because of all the artists that have been passing away.
Yeah.
And the second track was written with that in mind. But as we went on and things developed, one track stood out that we all loved playing, which was Destructor. It's got that edge to it, it's a really nice number. So, yeah, it went through various stages, and in the end, we decided on Destructor because we thought it would be a very good title. But I love several tracks on that album, especially Wolf Behind Your Eyes. I love that track as well. So it was a very difficult decision in the end, but we stuck with Destructor.
Well, I got to tell you, I love the name, first of all. But second of all, I had like kind of a flashback when I was listening to this, because like of good times back when, and I was like, man, I love the fact when bands come out with new music after a long period of time, and yeah, it's modernized, but it doesn't change who they are. That's and right. I think this does that.
Yeah, but we've not only got new stuff on there, we tried to link it back to the old band as well. There was a track from the 1980s. I'm trying to think what it is now. That one was More. That's right, the track More. We demoed that back in the 80s.
Right.
So we had that. And then there's two tracks from 2000, which were done with Kenny. That was Scream and My Obsession. We demoed them as well. So we tried to bring it through the ages to where we are now and to include everything. But it's a nice mix. But the stuff is still heavy and very riff-based, very New Orleans. And yeah, we love it.
Well, here's what I love about it. Okay, so a lot of new bands nowadays, because there's so much metal out there now compared to back in our days, back in the 80s, that it's almost like metal is doing what we were against back then, and they're like using a formula to make metal music.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that at all with this album. It's like, that's why I love it so much. It's like, it's just musicianship and just great metal without like a script, for lack of a better way of saying it. That's what I look at it, is the new music, they're using a script or an algebraic equation to make the music.
Well, we do it. Well, we do our music in a certain way. But a lot of bands, there is just a competition between the guitars and the vocals and everybody's, and that doesn't work. It really doesn't. You've got to give your vocals space. You've got to give your instruments space, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have got our own formula, but it's a very simple one. It's very basic, and it works.
So now, what made you release this album now in 2026? Well, it's actually, 2025, 2026. What made you do this now?
Well, it was basically down to problems that we couldn't release it before. First of all, Chris passing away.
Yeah.
That was not the time to release it. It really was not.
No doubt.
And we, Dave Ross and myself, we actually went into the studio, and after a couple of months after he passed away, and helped the family to break down the studio, and Dave sold all the gear for them. We did a sterling job. And then after the dust had settled, we sat down and said, well, what should we do, And then we had to put a band together without Chris, which was good enough to promote the album. Because just before Chris died, Mike Freeland left the band because he couldn't tour, due to personal problems. So we went through so many vocalists, trying to get somebody that could sing those vocals. And it took us ages to try and find a vocalist. We went through several, as I say, and eventually Mike came back to the band. And that was the point where we thought, right, we can now think about putting out the album, because we had the old band back together without Chris. Unfortunately, Dave left, and we got another guy in on guitar. But yeah, it was being able to promote the album properly and have a band there that was capable of doing it, which we actually got now. So that's good. And then what we did, once we were in a state to look at getting the album put out, I had a word with Chris's widow, Jane Tsangarides, a very lovely lady. But Chris has spoken to a guy called Dan McConomy, remanaging the band, etc., before he passed away. And Jane was still in contact with him, so I asked whether she could mention whether he would still be interested in managing the band, and that we got the album to put out. And after due deliberation, he came on board, and from there things took off. And he's done a brilliant job in actually managing the whole thing and masterminded it from there on. And that is the story, the basic story on it, and that's where we are today. He sent it out to Mal Applebaum out in LA, and he did an amazing job on the mastering, and that's where we are.
So now, do you think that maybe from somewhere in the universe that you were led by Chris to find this USB drive that had the tracks?
Well, I can tell you what happened there. When we were breaking down the studio, he had a radar system that he did his recording on. Now, I'm a technophobe, but even Dave didn't understand how the radar system worked. But we knew three guys from a band called Blind Tiger who were going to come into the studio, and they understood the system. So while they were there, they went through everything that was on the radar system, and they found the album for us, and they downloaded it onto a USB stick for us.
Wow.
And I've still got that in my house now.
Nice.
I've only had copies and sent out copies. That one I've still got. And this here that I'm sitting in, this is the chair that Chris sat in at his desk in the studio.
So he's here with us on the interview now, I take it.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
I love it. I love it, and he's probably really proud of this final rendition of the album.
I hope so. Yeah. He was such a nice, humble man. He really was. And he loved playing.
That's always great to hear. That's always great to hear. And to pay such homage to somebody like that was so important to the band. I think putting this album is the best way you could pay homage to him, my opinion.
And we had to do it the right way, you know, and Dan coming on board, yes, he's doing Chris proud.
I love it. So now that we've done this and we have some amazing music,
thank you very much.
Is there more coming from more?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, but I've been in the band since 1982, so it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys are gonna start doing now that we've put this album out? Like,
well,
are there any other plans?
Well, there are plans. We started writing for the next one. Peter and I have started writing stuff. We did so last weekend, I think. Yes, it was last weekend. We started writing new material for another album, and we're going to start at the Cart and Horses. We've got a gig on the 16th of May, which is for Paul Di'Anno's birthday, and Paul Mario Day, which is Iron Maiden's first vocalist and our vocalist on the Warhead album, who passed away sadly recently. So doing that gig for him as well to honour him. And that's on the 16th of May. And then from there on, we're going to get as many gigs as we can. But but what we've been doing, we've been putting together the business side of the band just recently, because we decided to do our own label and everything. So we've had to set everything up, and there's been a lot of work behind the scenes. But yeah, we will be out there playing very shortly.
Very cool. Well, this summer, I'll be doing media coverage at Download and Bloodstock. So I'm just putting this out there for them. They need to put you guys on the bill of both those festivals.
Well, I hope so. I'll be there. No, I'd love to do that. But yeah, as many festivals as we can get on. We did a few before Christmas. We did one in France. We headlined one in Holland. We've done a couple of festivals in this country as well. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, everybody's got to check out the new music. How can they get a hold of the album?
Oh, no. Go on our website and our Facebook page, and you will find the links on there. That's all I can say. I'm not a technical person. But no, you can get all the links on our Facebook page. I'm trying to think what the Facebook page is now.
You don't even have to worry about it, because what we're going to do is I'm going to tell the listeners right now that if they check the show notes of this interview, we'll list the links for your website, for your Facebook. They can go check it out.
You've done it for me. There you go.
There it is. And just look at that artwork. Okay, I'm all about artwork. That's some badass artwork.
That's right. It is. Yeah. It's got some punch, the album, I'll tell you that.
And that's the only way metal should be, and that's the only way more should be, in my opinion. And you have hit the nail on the head.
Full in your face.
Right? I always am so happy when bands like you that have been around since I'm a teenager are doing this.
I'm still a teenager.
Right? If you would have asked me in the 80s if at almost 60 years old I would be, interviewing metal bands from that time, I would have been like, you're nuts. The world's going to blow up in 1984 anyway. We won't be here.
I wish I was 60.
I know, right? I think about it. It's funny, too. When you were like 16, you couldn't wait to be an adult. And now I think, what an idiot I was. Like, I wish I could go back to those times again, too, because, man, there were some fun times in metal back then. There's fun times now, too, but that beginning time, and like you mentioned, Paul, people may not like me for this, but I am definitely Team Paul Di'Anno Maiden. Like, I like Bruce, but to me, the best Maiden album of all time is Killers, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was a very sad when he passed away because I just thought he was amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Well, Chris knew him well, yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah. And it is sad when you see stuff like, it is happening now. And even the fact that Oz, oh my God, whoever thought Oz would pass away? He outlived everybody.
Yeah.
I was thinking about him on the way to this interview, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm in Costa Rica, in a place where I'm in the jungle and dirt roads, and I have a quad. That's my main mode of transportation. And I was thinking on the way back to my place to do the interview, I'm like, wait a minute. The whole thing started when Oz crashed his quad.
Now, I'll tell you something. Oz, he crashed his quad at the end of his garden where he used to live, and Chris had the garden which was opposite. They used to be neighbours.
Whoa!
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you something else as well. I walked into the studio one day, and Chris was mixing an album, and he said, "Who's that?" I don't know, sounds very familiar. He said, it's Ozzy. And that was on the Mountain album. I said, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant album that was. And it was there just mixing his voice. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I have a cool Oz story too. Okay, so it was I don't remember, 80 something, but it was New Year's Eve. Yeah. And it was right before Randy died. Okay.
Yeah.
And I did that thing, I told my dad, hey, I'm going to sleep over my friend Bill's house. And Bill told his parents he was sleeping over my house. And we went to the Ozzy show. And we got to see Randy Rhoads, thankfully. Like, man, what an experience that was. But then we get home and we're by my house, and I lived on this place called Lake Lindero in Agoura, California. And you had like a hill going down in my backyard. Yeah. So we got home in the middle of the morning. So we decided to just sit at the bottom at the lake where my dad couldn't see us.
Yeah.
But, we were there to be able to go home. And this woman that's my next door neighbor. She comes out of the house. I never met her.
No.
And we're wearing all the Ozzy stuff. And she goes, oh, did you boys just go to Ozzy's show last night? We're sitting there thinking, should we even answer? We're in trouble now. We're busted. And we just like, okay, yeah, we did. She goes, stay right there. I want to get my husband. And we were like, oh, shit. He comes out, invites us up to his house.
Yeah.
Brings us, he's got a studio in his house. It was wall-to-wall cassette tapes. And it turned out he was Ozzy's promoter.
No.
Like, who knew? Lived right next door to me. And so he gave us all kinds of swag. And then he handed me this cassette tape.
Yeah.
He said, this band is not in the U.S. yet, but they're going to be huge in the next 6 months. And I listened to the first song, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about when I say this. And I just heard this big scratch of it. It was like, la, doo, da, dee, na, na. And then this big scratch in the record and the scream, the Udo scream. It was as fast as a shark by Accept. And they weren't even in the U.S. yet. We were so cool with all our friends. We're like, check out this music. And boom, then the rest of that story.
Well,
so,
manager used to be Moore's first manager as well. Except first manager was Moore's first manager.
Wow. Look at all the connections, right?
And when Randy Rhoads died, a guy called Bernie Tormey took his place.
I remember.
And we used to rehearse at his studio until he died. Me, Chris, and the rest of the band.
Wow. So check this out. That year that I saw Randy, yeah. I actually saw Ozzy with two other guitarists. It wasn't Bernie either. Brad Gillis
Yeah.
And believe it or not, only played a couple shows, Pat Travers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like, see, this is what's cool about metal, this history here of how it's all started from the very beginning. When I talk to kids today and it's like, they don't even know bands like Iron Maiden, I kind of scratch my head. Like, how are you a metalhead and not know who Iron Maiden is, you know? And it's true. It's like this involvement that we've had. And thank God for bands like you, because if it weren't for bands like you, we wouldn't have metal today.
Well, the gig we're doing in May, I think it's the 16th or 12th, something like that, is the Iron Maiden pub. And it's called that because that is where Iron Maiden started. And,
wow.
Oh, yeah. It's a great place. It's called the Cart and Horses. So look it up. It's on our.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah,
I've heard of.
Yeah, that's where we're playing. We're playing with Air Force. A brilliant band. That's,
nice.
So be a good gig.
Very cool. I think everybody should check it out. Yeah, I have a funny Maiden story too. Where I live, I don't know if you noticed, but Nico lives right near me because I'm in South Florida is where I live.
Yeah.
And so I was dating this girl. There's this club, very small. It's like a little bar.
Yeah.
And it's in Fort Lauderdale and it's called Cheers.
Yeah.
And they have bands play there, like cover bands, and then they have like this thing called karaoke. It's like punk rock karaoke. And one day she was outside the place and she calls me up and she's like, man, there's this really good Maiden cover band playing. And then she walked inside and she calls me back. She's like, holy shit, it is Iron Maiden. And, you know, they were warming up for a tour. So they were playing this little bar, like where nobody knew they were playing.
That's
so,
right. Well, Moore went on tour with them before I joined, unfortunately. But yeah, they were out on the tours with Maiden. Yeah.
Nice. Well, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners about the album that we haven't covered already?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so.
I think we covered it all, right?
I think we have, yeah.
Well,
just look out for us because we'll be out there. We want to get over to the Americas as soon as we can.
Yeah, let's get you on some festivals here. I cover all the Danny Wimmer festivals, so I'm yelling out to him. He needs to put more on the lineups for 2027.
I want to go. I've never been to the States, and I want to come there. And both my children have been over there, but I haven't. So.
Well, come on over. We want you here.
Good.
And you know what? Thanks for making us such great music and continuing this legacy. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
And thank you very much. And it's people like you that keep us going. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.